And we are now joined by Senator Michael Bennet, one of the 23 Democrats running for president this year. Senator Bennet, thank you for joining us this morning. You just heard the chief right there kind of laying out the difficulties facing those who are calling for more gun restrictions like you. What difference can a president make here? We know President Obama supported more gun restrictions, couldn't get it done.
Thanks, George. Thanks for having me. I think a president can make a big difference here. Look, the House of Representatives have passed background checks to close the gun show loophole and the internet loophole. This person bought the guns lawfully, as we know, and every single fact pattern is going to be different. But we should pass those background checks. 90% of the American people support them, but we know what's going to happen, which is the House has passed it. Mitch McConnell will not allow it to come to a vote in the Senate, and we will not have national background checks. After Columbine in Colorado, the people of this western state voted to close the gun show loophole and the internet loophole. That was 20 years ago, George. And every single year, about 2 or 3% of the people that try to buy a gun in Colorado are stopped. And these people are rapists and murderers and convicted felons of one kind or another. And it's impossible to argue that our state's not safer as a result of this law. So my hope is that if McConnell does not take this up on the floor, that the American people and the people of Kentucky will hold him accountable for that, and that we can actually put leadership in the Senate and the White House that will do something about this.
You're not the only Coloradan in the race. Your former boss, when he was mayor of Denver, John Hickenlooper, is also running. Of course, he was governor of Colorado as well. And yesterday, he got a pretty rough reception at the California Democratic Convention when he denounced socialism. Want to show it?
Let me be clear. If we want to beat Donald Trump and achieve big progressive goals, socialism is not the answer. I was reelected.
You heard those boos right there. You know, at the State of the Union, you applauded President Trump when he said America will never be a socialist country. Are you worried that you and John Hickenlooper are out of step with the base of your party?
Well, I think John might not have wanted to denounce socialism in San Francisco. That might be the last place that you'd want to do it. I don't think I'm out of step. I was not applauding Donald Trump. I was applauding the idea that this country will not become a socialist country. I think we have 230 years of being the longest-lived democracy on the planet. That's something we need to preserve. And it is becoming harder and harder for us because we have had 40 years of no economic mobility in the United States. 90% of the American people, 90%, George, have not shared in the economic growth over the last 40 years. For them, those periods of economic growth have acted as a recession. And as a result, they can't afford the basic components of a middle-class life. And on top of that, if you're poor in this country, your chances of getting into the middle class are lower today than they've been in generations. That is tearing at our democracy. And if we don't figure out a way to begin to address that, to reestablish in this country the idea that when the economy grows, everybody's income grows, we're going to have real problems. And so I don't think we need to call it socialism or not socialism. It doesn't matter. What we need is a country where everybody has a share in our prosperity.
But it's not only a rhetorical difference, there are real substantive differences as well. He was also booed when he took on the idea of Medicare for all, that it's going to take away private health insurance from so many millions of Americans. That's your position as well. Again, the base of the party seems to be going in another direction.
Well, actually, I think the Twitter universe in the party is going in another direction. The base of the party that I've been meeting with in New Hampshire, Iowa, and just yesterday in South Carolina, they don't think we should take insurance away from 180 people. They absolutely categorically do not agree that Bernie is right on that. And I don't think Bernie's right on that. I think he's wrong. I remember when we voted on Obamacare, I was there, and we all said, if you like your insurance, you can keep it. And thousands of people in the country lost it because they had insurance that didn't prevent people with pre-existing conditions from being bounced from their health insurance. And it was a political catastrophe. Now we're saying, look, if you like your insurance, the Democrats are going to take it away from you and replace it with a government plan. That's not going to be acceptable to people. If you want universal health care, which I do, I just had a prostate cancer operation myself, and I feel very strongly about this. If we want universal health care, I think we're a lot better off saying to the American people, you have an option for your family and for you to decide whether you want to be on a public plan, mine is called Medicare X, or on a nonprofit plan, which is what I'm on now, Kaiser, or a for-profit plan. If we tell the American people we have to take it away from you before you can have universal health care, it's never going to work. And that's not because, by the way, single payer is a bad idea. It's because we have an existing system of insurance today. If we had no existing system, I think we should be having a different conversation. But yeah.
I know you're hoping to be the nominee. So is Bernie Sanders. Can you support him as a Democratic Socialist if he gets the nomination?
I absolutely can support him, and I can support him wholeheartedly if it means we're going to beat Donald Trump.
You think a Democratic Socialist can beat Donald Trump?
Well, I think the only way we're going to lose to Donald Trump is if we disqualify ourselves. And that's why these issues around, how we approach universal health care, how we approach climate change, as Democrats, we have to build a broad constituency in the country, not just of Democrats, but of independents and Republicans to overcome Trump. We should never have lost to Trump. We lost to a climate denier. He should have been disqualified from office just on the basis of that, yet we lost on a jobs argument to a guy who was threatening to, or promising to drag us back into the 19th century. We have to, good.
To make this case, you're going to have to get on the debate stage. Right now, you haven't qualified yet. There are two criteria. 65,000 donors. Want to show a chart here from 538. 65,000 donors. You need 1% in at least 3 national polls. They say it could be tough for you to make this debate, even tougher to make the third debate where they're going to double those criteria. You confident you're going to be able to get on?
Well, I hope so. I only got in the race 4 weeks ago, so, George, I'm behind. And anybody who wants to help, we'd love to have the help. But I also think, I hope the DNC sort of takes a look at this and reconsiders. I mean, I have won 2 really tough races in Colorado, a swing state, a purple state in the West. I've chaired the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee. I raised a record amount of money while I was doing that. I've been in the Senate for 10 years. And I think that the tragedy for, adding voices to the democracy, if we're basing it just on what people can raise on the internet in just a handful of weeks, I just don't think it makes any sense. I mean, you should see, George, the emails that people are sending out to try to get fundraising contributions. I mean, the desperation is unbelievable and has nothing to do with putting Democrats into a strategic posture to win the White House from Donald Trump, which is where we need to be.
Senator Bennet, thanks for your time.
At least I think that's where we need to be.
Thank you for sharing your views this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.